Hey, family. You are now locked into the Alumni Podcast. If you're joining us on YouTube, please click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and tap the bell to be notified when we drop new content on this channel. I am your host, Queen V, and joining me is my husband, my king, KB Supreme. How was your day, honey?
Oh, my day was good. Had a good rest day. As you know, I'm training for a marathon, so I went on a 10-mile run yesterday. Legs was very, very super tired today, so I had opportunity to go on our 2-mile walk this morning that we did together and stretch the legs a little bit, and had a day to relax and recover and get ready for work tomorrow. How was your day?
My day was good. We went to church this morning, and then the girls and I hung out, spent some time together, and just a nice, peaceful, and relaxing day.
Okay, good. So I had some time to think today, right?
Okay.
And I was thinking about slime. You know how like you hate slime and you always complain about when the girls come home from summer camp with slime?
Yes, I absolutely hate slime and silly putty. Absolutely hate it.
So, did you have slime as a kid?
I don't think so. I can't remember. We had Play-Doh,
Right.
but we never had slime.
So I remember having slime as a kid, right? And so I wanted to share a story with you because I was thinking, and this made me laugh.
Okay.
And it's a story about my great grandma.
Okay.
And God rest her soul, beautiful, beautiful woman, right? From Charleston, South Carolina, like old fashioned Southern woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one particular time I had slime way back when I was young. And we was in Charleston staying at my great grandmother's house, and I somehow spilled the slime on her couch.
Mm-hmm.
And me trying to clean it up, I didn't go get anything wet or anything to wipe it up. I tried to pick it up with my hand and like clean it with my hand, and it left particles of the slime in her couch.
Right.
And so I tried everything in my power to clean it without being noticed, because I knew that if I got found out, I'd probably get in trouble, big trouble, right? So I decided to take a pillow on the couch and cover the area where I spilled the slime, because it was ingrained in the couch. So I covered the area and left it there all day. And then we went out to see my cousins and everything like that. And so we didn't get back till about, it felt like 10:30, 12 o'clock at night, and everybody sleep. And so I go and I look in the living room, and the pillow is still there. So I want to quickly check it and see. I mean, everybody's sleep, nobody's up, nobody's moving, and I sneak in there to go and check where the pillow is.
Right.
And so I go and I remove the pillow, and all the slime is cleaned up. I mean, there's no evidence, remnants of the slime.
Wow.
So I happen to turn around, and guess who's just standing right there in the walkway?
Your great grandmother.
My great grandma. She didn't say a word. She just smiled at me, and she walked back into her room, and it was just like,
oh wow.
I mean, isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So do you have a story where Mama Jim protected you from something? Because my great grandma could have ratted me out. She could have told me. She could have scolded me right then. But she just let me know that I'm the matriarch. You can't pull one over on me. I know what you did, but I saved you. And so that for me created this, like, and I always love my grandma, but it just, to this day, it's just that level of respect and admiration that I've had for my great grandma is like, wow.
Yes, that is amazing. I do have a story about Mama Jim. She was a great, great, great grandmother, great person. And growing up, I just wanted to dance. I loved to dance, and she knew the love I had for dancing. And she used to tell me stories about how she would like to dance and she wasn't able to go out, and she would sneak out, and then her mother, my great grandmother, Mom Blanche, would catch her and spank her, and she would get in trouble. So this one particular night, I wanted to go out to the Blue Note, local club from Biloxi, which we all grew up and went to, and my mom wouldn't let me go. And it wasn't that I wanted to drink. I just wanted to dance. And my Uncle Ronnie, his family owned the club, so they weren't serving us alcohol anyway.
Right.
So I figured I would ask, could I go? My friends were going. She knew where I was going to be, but she said no. So I was crying. I was upset. And I think I was either a junior. Yeah, I had to be a junior or a senior in high school. I was really, really upset. Mama Jim came in there and said, stop crying, put your clothes on, and just wait. So I'm like, oh, Lord, what's about to happen? I'm thinking she's going to go confront my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, she didn't. She waited till my mom went to sleep. Then she came in there and got me. She said, go ahead and go out. Here's some money. Be back at this certain time and just knock on the front door. So I'm all happy. I get my shoes on. I run down the street. I think I probably either met up with my girl Lynn or maybe Yannicka. And so ran to the club, had a good time. And I'm knowing what time I got to be back. So I, didn't want to disobey my grandmother. I'm already out and I'm not supposed to be. I'm disobeying my mom.
Right.
But I say, hey, my grandmother, her mama got my back. So I go home at that point in time, knock lightly on the door. Mama Jim, instead of getting in her bed, she laid on the couch watching TV and laid there until I knocked on the door so she can safely let me back in so I wouldn't get in trouble and get caught by my mama.
Oh,
So my grandma was a G. She was the greatest grandmother ever. And so, I asked her why she did it. She said, I know all you wanted to do was dance. It's not about you going out drinking. I knew where you were. If anything, she could have called the club, called my Uncle Ronnie, call Mr. James Whitson. Rest in peace to Mr. James, because he gave me a hard time by getting in, but he still let me in because he knew the family. And like I said, it wasn't about giving us drinks, but that's what my grandmother did for me, so I wouldn't sneak out somewhere else and get in trouble.
Okay. So if you would have got caught, do you think you would have probably gotten a whooping for that?
Oh, most definitely. My mom would have beat me. Most definitely.
So I was thinking about spankings and whoopings, because when we grew up, it was just a natural, normal thing during our childhoods, right?
Right.
And we can look back on it and say, you know what, those spankings help grow me in. I'm gonna speak for myself. Those spankings help grow me into the responsible, respectful young man that old man that I am today. Would you say that helped you become the person you are today, that kept you out of a lot of trouble in your teenage years?
Yes, I can say that it did. A lot of the spankings that I got, when I thought about afterwards, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely not going to do that again, depending on the severity of the spanking, or I guess what I got spanked with. But definitely I didn't make that same mistake twice to get that same spanking twice.
Right. So, which leads me into our first topic, right?
Okay.
And I know we differ on opinions about this.
Right.
The use of spankings and any type of physical discipline when it comes to children and raising your children. Right. What is your position on it?
My position is, if I need to spank them to get my point across after they haven't listened, if I haven't been effective with taking things away from them, and I feel that I'm talking to a brick wall, then I feel if I need to spank them, which is different than abuse, then I will spank my children, our children.
Right. And the way I see it is, I just and again, I'm not gonna sit here like I'm some angelic person before and say, I've never spanked my kids before. I think as a young parent, I especially with first coming into parents, because when you are raised a certain way and you see the techniques that was raised for you, it's hard to say, okay, I'm going to raise my children different from the way I was raised, because this worked for me. This is what my childhood was that turned me into the person I am. And then as I got older and started to kind of look back on things, and especially as we started to get further and have more children and things like that, my perception of it changed.
Right.
And again, I still think any type of discipline is a form of violence.
Okay.
In the household. And so again, I don't knock anybody that uses physical discipline. I just don't think that it's a effective way of parenting in the new age way of parenting. Especially, and then again, my perception may be different because we have all girls.
Right.
And I've always saw it as my girls should feel like I am the last line of protection physically.
Mm-hmm.
They should always be able to come to me and talk to me about anything. And they should always know that I can go to that man and I can always feel safe no matter what.
Right.
And so when it comes to me, it's like I don't ever want my children. I want my children to respect me, but I don't ever want them to fear being around me or knowing that if they make a mistake, because children will make a mistake. I think sometimes parents, they want unreasonable children to think reasonably.
Okay.
But you can't expect an unreasonable kid to think reasonable like an adult, because when we were kids, we made these, as we just said, we made these same mistakes.
Right.
And so I think that understanding that it's ways that you can manage children in a new way of parenting to get your point across without actually physically hitting them.
Okay. Well, for me, I see your point, but I disagree. Because with me, I feel that I'm speaking to them more or talking to them more about the same things.
Right.
Where I have to keep saying, don't do this certain thing. By the third or fourth time, I'm like, I am tired of repeating myself. And for you, you can call their name one time, and if you call their full name, it's their whole world has end. Whereas I'm constantly saying, don't do this, stop, don't do this. By the third, fourth, or fifth time, I'm done. So I feel that if I have to use my hand to tap their bottom, which is not abuse, I looked it up, because I'm not hitting them with anything other than my hand on their bottom one time to grab their attention. So for me, I feel that I am speaking to them more. I don't know, it's because I'm mom and because they do see you as that last line of defense authority figure, or, oh, mom's always yelling, mom's always telling us to do this. So for me, and especially with our girls, and they're either taller than me or going to be taller than me, I want them to respect me. I don't want them to fear me and that they can't come and speak to me, but you will listen and you will do what I say. And I'm not going to keep repeating myself over the same thing, and I know you know better.
Right. And I think that's also the reason why you and I should I think that's also the reason why I'm vigilant and to know that when the girls are getting a little out of hand, to step in,
right,
and to correct them verbally when needed, to let them know, hey, there's only a certain limit or line that you'll be able to creep to before I step in and stop you from disrespecting you in a way that you may feel like, okay, you're talking back. Because as they get older, they do kind of talk back a little bit, and kind of test you a little bit. And so for me to stay vigilant and know that, okay, and as you sometimes see when I see you engaging with the kids and I'm listening, and if I hear it getting out of hand, I'll step in and immediately speak with our girls to get them back to a respectful tone,
right,
or to stop the conversation immediately. And that's why I think that our parenting together, where you'll need that, is where not only am I the one that they should come to for protection, but also as the quote unquote head of the house. And when I say the head of the house, because I know people cringe at that, like, oh, meaning that, I'm the husband. It's my job to cover the family.
right,
And when I mean cover is to protect you, protect the girls. That's my job.
right,
As the father, as the husband. And so that means that I have to protect you first. And when our children are coming up against you, I have to step in and say, you know what, that's not going to happen, because ultimately um, we're a team, and our children can't divide us as a team. Now, ultimately, we can't hurt our children. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that you or I can do something to our children and the other parent, because it's our job to ultimately protect our offspring. So, but when we're a team and we're parenting, we have the same goal in raising our children into successful, productive citizens in life. I think it's important that I stand for you when I see that they're getting out of hand, to avoid it getting to the point where we have to physically, you know, use discipline.
Right. And I agree. And I don't want, our listeners or anyone to think that I just go around spanking them all the time. I don't. I rarely, if I have to do it. I think I threaten them more with, if you don't act right, then I'm going to spank you or I'm going to pop you. And they usually just give me that look like, okay, she's serious and we're going to sit down somewhere.
Right. And again, I'll make it clear. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen you. I know you threaten a lot, but I mean, I think that's what majority of I guess, parents, but don't actually follow through. And so, yeah, I'm just saying, we're just talking about the perception and the act of doing it and the belief system in it. So I know we disagree on it, but I do understand, because again, I was raised in that era. Would I change anything about my childhood? No, because there was a lot more. Like right now, kids have so much to grab their attention. I mean, even though they're learning a lot more, like what we learned at 15 and 16, our kids and kids in general are learning at 9, 10, sometimes as young as 6. And so I think that the era that I grew up in, because we didn't have social media and a lot of things to grab our attention, we will be outside. And there's a lot of things that you can get into outside that was a whole lot of trouble. And so I definitely wouldn't change the way I was raised, because we learned not to do stupid things. And we knew that if we did stupid things, there would be consequences for our stupid things when we got home. So I wouldn't change anything about it. But I think now we're living in a new world, a new society, old style of parenting in today's world. I mean, or in America today. It has to change, where you have to come up to the 21st century of parenting. And if you don't, you'll be left behind and find yourselves dealing with CPS and all those other agencies when it comes to children, because the parenting hasn't evolved. You're still parenting the way you were parent, which was 20, 30 something years ago.
Right. And even though parenting has evolved, we can't let the threat of CPS or other people stop us from disciplining our children, as far as taking things away from them, setting boundaries, setting standards. And I know, other people or agencies might want to tell you how to discipline your child, and you can discipline your child without physically spanking them and doing it the right way. And like you said, new age parenting, but in that new age parenting, you cannot let the child be the boss or run over you. And you have to set rules, and they have to abide by them, and there should be consequences. And I think a lot of times parents may feel stuck that, okay, I can't spank my child, I can't do this, so I kind of like borderline talk to the child, and be their friend. No, you still have to be the parent. They still have to be the child. You still have to set rules and boundaries, and you can set consequences and discipline them without going into physically spanking them unless you need to, but making sure that you're not abusing that child. Or like, if you agree to disagree with your spouse, I think it is important that you show a united front, and that they know that no matter what, my parents are in control, and you can't play one parent against the other.
Right. I agree 100% with your analogy. I mean, or your train of thought of and that's why I'm talking about that new age parenting of taking things away, setting boundaries, having those talks, being actively involved in what they're doing, managing, if they do have cell phones and stuff like that, managing the content and the things that they're doing and stuff like that. So yeah, I totally agree. I think that these agencies have placed a new level of power in children's hands. to where they can use the system to work against the parents when they're upset they can't get their way. So I do agree with that, where we can allow our children to manipulate the system in order to gain access to the power that they shouldn't have. And it takes the power away from us as parents to raise our children the way we want to. Um, but I also think that there's new techniques when working with children, to guide them to do the things that you want them to do long term for their benefit. And so it's just like being open to those things, because a lot of times people are just not open to learning new ways of parenting. They're like, this is the way I was parented. This is the way I was raised, and it turned me into a productive citizen. So this is the way I'm going to raise my kids, point blank and period. But man, our kids have so much access to things that we didn't have. I mean, our kids are learning stuff quicker, faster, easier. They're locked in. Like, I was in a barbershop the other day, and the guys were talking about his son on his video game, and his son being on it all day and not coming out to eat and stuff like that. And he said, you know what the problem is? You can't pause the game no more. You know, and that made me think. I'm like, man, that is so right. Like, you cannot pause the game. Like, these kids are playing live and they're playing against other people, where these games are built to consume these kids all the time, where they can't break away because they can't, like we used to, can pause Mario Brothers and go and eat and then come back and play it. Like, these kids can't pause the game no more. If you walk away from it from a second, you'll lose. So it's a new world. So I was thinking about being so-called the protector of the house, right?
Okay.
And I was thinking about marriage.
Right.
Marriage in general. And I'm not talking about our marriage. I'm just talking about marriage in general.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know one of the things that we wanted to deal with, but we had to take our time to deal with on this podcast, was cheating in marriage.
Right.
And here's another subject you and I kind of differ on in opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought that the failure to protect was a greater, what word can I use?
Detriment.
I've always felt that the failure to protect was a greater detriment to a marriage than cheating.
Okay.
Or not cheating on a consistent basis, but if a guy cheats, messes up and cheats once,
Mm-hmm.
I feel that in a lot of marriages that can be repaired, and a marriage can survive from that, depending on, you know, how the husband and the wife feel as far as going forward.
Okay.
Or the wife, or whoever's the one that's not the one that cheated, however they feel as far as going forward.
Okay.
But I felt that the failure to protect was a greater detriment. You feel otherwise. Why?
For me, both are grave offenses,
Mhm.
but the cheating or adultery, to me, is the greater offense. Even though studies say that when men cheat is to satisfy an urge, and they have few thoughts of intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
And when women cheat, usually they're unhappy and there's no intimacy with their partner. And for me, the reason for the cheating is irrelevant. When you make the conscious decision to be physically intimate and act on it with another person other than your partner, your spouse, all trust is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't trust you, then how can I be with you? And I know what we believe, or what the Bible says, forgiveness, and it teaches forgiveness. I may forgive you eventually, but I won't forget. And that mental image or that feeling of hurt or deceit is hard to erase. So for me, if you are in a relationship, a marriage, a commitment, a covenant with that person,
Right.
It's about you and that person that you went before your family, God, that person with, and you made that commitment, you made that vow to love, honor, cherish, and obey. And for you to go out and commit this offense of adultery or cheating, to me, that's just, you're not thinking about that person. You're thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about your spouse. You're not thinking about your kids. You're not thinking about your family until you get caught. Then that's when you want to think about it. So for me, that's just like, how can I forgive you? How can I trust you? How can I look at you the same? I can't.
Right. So I guess when I look at it, and I guess where our difference in opinion is you more generalize it or personalize it. I'm sorry. You personalize it. I generalize it, meaning that I look at people who have survived cheating or infidelity and adultery and marriage, and I know that trust is broken, and that trust has to be repaired, and it takes a long time to repair that trust. And so again, I'm not speaking about our marriage in general or in specifically. So I go back, and the reason why I think that failure to protect is a greater detriment. So if I was to tell you that a father killed his children, and then I would tell you that a mother killed her children, realistically, what would society look worse on?
The mother, because she carried those children.
The mother, right? Because she's expected to be the one to protect her children or the children. Now, on the other hand, if I was to tell you that a wife killed her husband, and then on the other hand, tell your husband killed his wife, what would society realistically look down on more?
The husband.
Because his job is to
protect
the overall family.
Right.
So there was a case back when I believe that guy went into the movie theater, the Batman premiere, and shot up the movie theater. And there was a guy who his wife and his child was in the movie theater, and he ran out of the movie theater, leaving them behind. He has shown that he is not willing to risk his life to protect his wife and his offspring.
Right.
I don't think that marriage can survive, because he has made the ultimate detriment, where he's proven that I'm not willing to risk my life to protect you and this child. Now, the way I see cheating, and to me it's not, I know it may appear black and white, but to me it doesn't appear, it's not black and white to me. Okay. So I look at it from the nature, and I believe, and the reason why we took so much time to touch on this subject is because I feel like what I'm about to say is going to be like, so ladies, sisters, hear me hear me out. All right, I'm not excusing cheating in marriage,
because I'm not tolerating it.
Right. Again, I am not excusing cheating in marriage. And I feel that because I choose not to cheat, nor do I want to, it doesn't make me a better man than you that did. It makes me only a better husband than you.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because men have a natural animalistic instinct to mate.
Okay, that might be true. Okay.
They have a natural animalistic instinct to mate. We naturally find, and I'm only talking about, again, I'm talking about heterosexual men, okay? And this is not about your choice to choose whatever and like that. I'm not talking about. I'm only talking about from my perspective, because I'm a heterosexual man, so I'm only talking from my perspective. And so this is not generalizing everybody. So I preface that anyway. So men have a natural instinct to mate.
Right.
and we find women beautiful and attractive. So when I then find you, my wife, I am going to suppress my natural instinct
Right.
because I have your feelings to think about, and I love you, and I know that if I give way to my natural instinct to mate, then I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to break this covenant that we made. So it's all about learning how to suppress that natural instinct. And this is why I say I'm not a better man than a guy who can suppress his natural instinct to mate. I'm just a better husband than you. And so that's why I can say, and then some men are smart enough to know I can't put myself in certain situations.
Right.
Because I have a natural instinct that I can suppress, but I don't know if I can control it in every situation.
Right.
So that's why a married man shouldn't be in a room alone with a woman or somebody that's not his wife or etc. And so that's why I'm saying that men can find themselves in a bad situation where they give way to their natural instinct to mate. And you can jump in at any time to stop me.
Okay. I mean, yes, they can find themselves in a bad situation, but once you realize you're in a bad situation, you need to remove yourself before something happens. So I don't think that it's okay to say, oh, well, I was caught up and it just happened. You just didn't happen to place your parts in somebody else's parts that ain't your wife. I'm sorry. Remove yourself. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I get it. And then some guys, they think they can suppress it until it's too late, and they find themselves in a bad situation. And again, I'm not excusing it.
Right.
But I understand the somewhat psychology of it. That and that's why it's important to learn how to, and it's like there's a lot of things in life that we ultimately suppress, right? Just like we were talking about, my belief that a woman might ultimately, a female, might ultimately want the alpha male. It's her animalistic instinct to want the strongest, because if you ever look on, for instance, Facebook is everybody's outlet to promote, to express how they feel, to express happiness, sadness, etc.
Right.
You don't ever see anybody post a picture when they're trying to post their man crush Mondays. They don't post the chubby, obese, broke guy, do they?
No, they don't.
Right, they're gonna post the alpha, the tall, strong, handsome dude, right?
Right.
It's her natural instinct to do it. Right. And so again, like, let's say if you had a man when you first met me, right? If I was hardworking, considerate, clean, dressed well, and loving, I've done something to attract you, right?
Right.
Then after you marry me, years, like maybe 4 or 5 years down the line, and I turn into lazy, inconsiderate, smelly, out of shape, angry all the time, mean, your perception of me will change.
Right.
Now you may stick around ultimately because you're a woman with morals, and you're gonna say it's the wrong thing to step out on my husband. But if I'm not showing you any affection, if I'm not showing you any love, if I'm not the guy that attracted you when we first got married, your attention is going to go to somewhere else. And it's just like animals in the jungle. If the male lion is not protecting the pride from that young lion coming in trying to, because a lion, if the male lion doesn't protect, that young lion will kill his offspring,
right,
in order to mate with the females to have his own lineage. And so if I'm not doing my job as the protector, you're going to go find somebody who will.
Yes and no. I agree with that part, but me, and I'm just speaking for myself, if you're not doing what was done in the beginning, and I think things can be improved, I'm going to let you know and give you the opportunity to fix them. And we can talk about it, and maybe it's something I'm not doing, and we can work on it together. But just me, I don't think I would step out on you. I would give you a chance to fix it, or be like, either we're gonna fix it and be together, or we need to separate.
Right.
And people might think, oh, you're just throwing it away. No, because it takes two to make a marriage work. It takes two to make the marriage continue to be what it was in the beginning. And you're going to have ups and downs in the marriage, but if you love that person, you should be able to be honest to let them know, hey, I see this now and it wasn't this before. How can we both fix this? And not make it just about what that person is not doing, because maybe it's something I'm not doing and we need to work on together. But if it's not working, then I'm going to be like, well, I will let you know, hey, I'm feeling this way, or I'm not getting what I need, and I feel that I might, we might need to be apart before this happens. That's just the courtesy that I would give you. Not saying that I have thought about or I'm going to do that, but to me, I would rather someone have enough love and respect to do that to me than to just go out and do them and then I found out later.
Right. So can I be advocate a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to try to stick up for the brothers.
Okay.
At the expense of my sisters being mad at me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So men, and we think about this, the court system is not that fair to men and fathers.
Okay.
And so not only is the man thinking about, if I leave, the impact that it'll cause on the family in general and the children, but he's thinking like, not only he's going to get slammed in court with child support, and he's going to get slammed in court with alimony and those things like that, but then also he may risk, and I get it, he should have thought about all this before he stepped out.
Exactly.
But again, I think that natural instinct can put a man in a position where he's not even aware of what's going on until it's going on. And it's going on. Like, you ever remember that movie with Chris Rock, I Think I Love My Wife?
Yes.
How he ultimately, like, the destruction was there. It was coming, it was building, and he's just naive and he's just going along with it, and he finds himself in a really bad situation.
Right.
And luckily for him, he caught it right before he made a mistake. And again, did he love his wife and his children and everything like that? I think he did. I think he just got caught in a bad situation because that natural animalistic instinct to mate and that natural instinct that he finds women attractive came out. And he didn't know it until it was there. He put himself in a bad situation, and next thing you know, boom. So again, I think that men think that, okay, if I do leave, I'm dealing with the court systems that's probably going to bury me. And he's saying, you know what? I'd rather try to hide it and keep it secret than to say I'm going to leave because I know what's waiting for me around the bend.
I think we can continue to agree to disagree on this topic.
All right. So what's your beef?
My beef. What's my beef? And as you said before in the last podcast, I travel a lot. Yes, I fly a lot. Right. So my beef is when the plane lands and they come on and they turn off the seatbelt sign, you can get up. Of course, get up, get your stuff if you need it as far as an overhead bin. But why do people in the back of the plane automatically get up and block the aisle like they're going to get off before people in front of them?
Right.
That irritates me. You cannot, if you're in the back in 35C, you're not going to get off before first class, business class, or the people that are in the first couple of rows. And it's like they stand there, then they get aggravated when the people in front of them are getting out and have to get their luggage. My thing is, you should wait until the person in front of you gets up, because you're sitting there and you're being mean, or you're mean mugging people, or you're just being ignorant, and it's not even your turn to go. Like, I've never had this issue on Asian airlines or Japanese airlines, because for them, they load the plane the right way or have you get on the right way, which is from the back to the front. That way you're not waiting on people to find their seat. And then everybody knows on the Japanese airlines or Asian airlines, when the plane lands, the people in the front get off and then everybody waits their turn. They have the best customer service, plane etiquette, whatever you call it. And that's my beef. I cannot stand people to do that.
Right. Okay.
So what's your beef, honey?
My beef is when you go to a place like Subway or any restaurant or fast food place where they use gloves.
Mm-hmm.
My beef is with people who think that the gloves are there to protect their hands from my food instead of my food from their hands. Like, when you put those gloves on, that doesn't mean that you can go and open up boxes to break out new bread.
Right.
Or you can go to the back and touch the doorknob to go get more lettuce or tomatoes. That means that your nasty hands and the nasty things that surround this restaurant is not supposed to go on my sandwich.
Correct.
So why are you putting on the gloves before you go get the tomatoes and things, and you're touching my food?
Right.
And now my food is contaminated.
Right.
And now you get attitude with me because I'm asking you, could you please remake my sandwich with cleaner gloves on?
Exactly.
And that's sometimes a level of pettiness I need to get over with.
No, I don't
because,
think so.
No, I mean that I'll let them make the whole sandwich and then ask if they can remake my sandwich. So that's my beef. Like, my food should be protected from your hands, not your hands from my food.
Right.
You know, and then when they get the gloves, they dig in there, like the medical glove, they dig in there and you got to unfold the gloves. You already contaminated the gloves.
So you want them to use the sterile glove process?
When I manage food, I wash my hands,
right,
dry them, and then I put the gloves on.
Right.
I didn't handle money.
Right.
Then go back and grab a new pair of gloves that's balled up into your hands, and then you unfold them and put them on, and then make my food. My food is contaminated with nasty money hands.
Right.
Yeah, that's my beef, man. I'm so sick of Subway. I'm done with them forever. They worse than McDonald's, probably.
I'm sorry to laugh. That is a valid beef to have, though.
All right, Queen V, go ahead, give us our positive word for the day.
Okay, our positive word for the day is can't was killed by the battle of trying. Anytime you think you can't or cannot do something, all you have to do is try. If you put a little effort in trying to fix the problem or trying to fix the situation that you think that you cannot do, you'll be surprised at what you can do.
Okay. And my positive word is I'm living my best life.
You are so silly.
Hey, this has been the Alumni Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Again, if you're joining us on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and click that bell so you can be notified when we drop new content. Thank y'all for joining us, and we truly thank you for the support, the people that's come up to us and let us know how we blessed you with creating this podcast, and just all the support and love we've gotten. Thank you so much. We'll continue to drop new content.
Thanks, family. Love you.
Peace.